Hivin and Vibin with Dr. Bibi.
Hi, folks. Welcome to Hivin and Vibin with Dr. Bibi. And today we have How Do You Coach? So, for this episode, we have with us Kanika Vasudeva. Now, Kanika helps coaches. She's a coach and she helps coaches and heart led professionals. Now, that's one definition that I'm going to ask her. What is a heart led professional? Grow their income, visibility, and confidence in a way that feels steady, aligned, and deeply supportive. Her work blends strategic clarity and energetic expansion so clients can grow without pushing, proving, or overworking. She helps clients clear the limiting patterns that slow down momentum so growth becomes clear, becomes easier, more natural, and more consistent. The shift creates a new internal foundation for sustainable income and leadership. That's amazing. Uh, with this, Kanika, I welcome you to Hivin and Vibin with Dr. Bibi. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you, Bibi, for having me here.
Right. That is lovely. So, tell me, how did you decide that you wanted to coach heart-led professionals? Because we all have a heart, so everyone would have a heart, right? So, what made you define the heart-led professionals?
Oh, as I was doing my coaching business, so initially I started by just helping anyone who needed help. I think my background has been through grief, through loss. So I was having a lot of those clients. But slowly, as time progressed, and I suppose I worked on my own growth and evolution. I was just having a lot more entrepreneurs and a lot more coaches who wanted to expand their business coming along my way as well. And then professionals who wanted to become coaches. And that's how this term came around: heart led professionals, heart led entrepreneurs, people who are following their calling. And this is such a passion of mine because I get so excited. Because think about this: if somebody else can grow and expand their own business, and then they're bringing good into the world, and this is multiple ripples going around. So, this, I just love the whole vision. It's like my little drop, and the drops spread outwards. That's why I just love helping heart led entrepreneurs and professionals.
Ah, and how did you decide that you would, like it would be their income, visibility, and confidence are the three things that you would concentrate on?
Yeah, because the biggest challenge that I found with someone who is starting with their own calling. People say, oh, I want to do this. And all the time you listen, well, but I don't know how to do this. And I don't know if this will actually make money. And it's all good to have a passion. But if your passion is not paying your bills, it just stays a hobby. And then the world is not really getting the full benefit of what you can offer. And hence, income became my first pillar that I really want to help people with their income, because you just cannot have wide scale impact with minimal income, even if you have a lot of passion. So, income became that. And then visibility is more because, especially as you are spreading your calling, whether that is your book, whether that is your podcast, and a lot of times my clients end up doing a lot of these. This is your truth. This is your authenticity that's coming out. And so you want to be more and more visible, and it is going to be a shift from what you were to what you are going to be, because in a corporate professional background you might have been wearing a very different mask. For example, even just myself, that was, I wouldn't say a different Kanika, but there's a different way of presenting yourself. And then the more you step into your calling, you peel off your layers, and it's a lot more authentic, a lot more magnetic as well. And then the other one, which is around confidence or meaning, comes because that's the deeper joy in life. So I'm not teaching people just to have income. I'm teaching you how to really have the income, how to show up authentically in your work lives and professional lives, and how to have this life of meaning. Like every time you have a connection, it feels like, yeah, this is juicy. Like I really like it. That meaning, that joy, that fulfillment in life, that's what I want to bring to the world.
Amazing. You have thought of three pillars in your, in your coaching, which are so well tied together. And because calling and having income through your calling, which you really put it out properly, is that if it's not in if it's not your passion and which is earning you enough to run your household, then obviously it's a hobby. It's not it's not your profession. So that part is amazing to bring out here, as well as the fact that this part needs visibility and it needs the confidence. So yes, totally agree that these are the three pillars which can really help a person to be coached to become a better human being and a better professional. Coming through this, how did your profession begin? How did your career begin?
I'm from India, so typical Indian person with an engineering background. Then I went out, did an MBA. So I have a corporate background. I think maybe the difference from perhaps typical Indians would be that I did my MBA degree from a very prestigious school in Barcelona. And then because of that, I ended up being a project manager. I ended up going around the world running multi-billion-dollar projects for major companies. And life looked really, really good on the outside. If you saw my LinkedIn posts, then or my Facebook posts, there were good holidays happening around the world. It looked really flashy, except that in my mid 30s, I was feeling super disconnected and empty inside. I sort of didn't really know then, and I talked to my friends. It sort of seemed to be the norm that you are in your mid 30s, you don't know what's happening with your life, and the meaning of life is gone. I didn't really know what to do with that. My son was 2 years old. I was married then, and it was the checklist kind of lifestyle. What I was supposed to do, I checked all the boxes, but just wasn't the way it was supposed to be. And then I was pregnant at that time. My daughter was 31 weeks, and one day I woke up. I was just not feeling any movement at all, and I lost my daughter. So I had to give stillbirth to her. And as hard as it was, it's probably the hardest thing that's ever happened, but it was very shocking. It also forced me to stop. The difference before this was that while things were happening, I wasn't super happy with my life. I was just getting busier. I was trying to find ways to run away from what I needed to heal. Whereas now, the shock, the grief, the guilt, shame, all of that was so much that I just sat with it and I did not know what to do. There was no running away. Um, so in that moment, I started asking and I started connecting with the universe. And I said that, hey, I really need to connect with my daughter because I need to say sorry. I need to move on from this. And as I was doing that, my son was 2 years old. So it was a very ironical contrast. Here I was like so fed up with life. I did not want to live at all. My son is 2, and if you ever have seen 2-year-old kids, like they do not understand the complexities of life, or maybe we do not understand the beauty of life. But I got to look after this kid who was 2 years old, and I had to because you don't want him to put his fingers in the socket or just do silly things. So you're watching him constantly. And I would watch him and he would just be happy with the simplest things. Like he would be happy with a crinkled paper. He would be happy with water and the way the water would flow. Just general joy in life was there. And I would look at him and go, what happened to me? Where did I lose that spark? And I suppose I would say that to all the listeners as well. Because somewhere we grow up, we were born like that. We innately knew how to be happy, how to find joy in life, and we lose that. So long story short, that's where I really decided that, okay, I have to live a happy life. I have to live a very connected life. I got into touch with some teachers. I got into energy healing. I started tapping into the Akashic records. I connected with my daughter. And my daughter told me when I connected with her, she said that she was never going to be born anyway. She had literally come to wake me up to my true purpose. So I should not be feeling guilty. And so as I kept now, coming back to life, sort of having that understanding, I was now working my corporate job and I was also now tuning into the energy, the consciousness, and I was bringing both of them together. So I kept doing that for a long time. Then life showed itself again, and I just started getting the messages that, okay, I should become a coach. I tried to avoid it for some time because that wasn't part of the plan, but that was life's plan for me. And hence I stepped into coaching. And I think now what I am able to do as a coach is I can bring that practical background, that really strategic MBA engineer mindset, that this is how you solve problems. And I can also bring the energetic side of it, that, okay, this is what your soul purpose is. So let's use that guidance and let's shortcut your success. So instead of us trying to just go with blindfolds on and trying to, for example, figure out what your ideal client looks like, I take my clients on a journey, help them see the visions of what the ideal client looks like, what is the ideal path to follow. So the way they set up their offering and the way they set up their coaching business is a lot faster and much more primed for success because it's already following their most aligned path.
Right. And what are the challenges that you face when you follow this methodology?
Well, a lot of times when people come into it, I take them on the journey themselves so that they see it themselves. Um, because I can see it for them. I love it when they see it for themselves because when you see a vision, you can't unsee it. It stays with you and it's something that will deeply resonate with your heart. The challenges sometimes could be, oh gosh, it wasn't really me. And then I just have to remind them that, okay, does it feel like you? And how did that feel? And so I have worked on a couple of ways to really bring it for them in their present thing. But I think the challenges mainly are if people come into believing, and usually in my field now, I have more clients who are really tuning into me because they are looking for that energetic attunement as well. If somebody just comes in from a logical mindset, that's like half my expertise. And I usually also tell them that, maybe you're not like we are probably not the best matched for each other because there are lots of coaches who'll just help you in the logical manner. With me, you get that clearing of limiting patterns. You also understand what it is that your soul wants to do. And then we work faster, quicker that way.
Uh-huh. I like the fact that, you're talking about bringing it very openly and clearly to your clients that, if you are looking at something logical, then this is not maybe the right pathway for you. That is so an honest and a very authentic way of, talking to a client and to make the client realize that the objectives could be different.
Yeah, because there's no fun. Like if they're just looking for pure left-brained guidance, um, then, I could do that, but that's half of my service. And the other gift I have is, look, for example, I could just be having sessions and we could take a little bit longer and we could meander around their path. The reason why I do it like this is I love transformation and I also love fast transformation. I love fast results. I am a project manager by background. So every time I take on a client, I actually don't talk around, well, this is the number of months or sessions that we are going to do, I actually tie it to results. Like, what is the result you're looking for? Let's tie that down, and we are working towards this together. And so it is like a project plan. Even though it's very energetically guided, but it is a project plan into very benefit focused. Like, this is the income that we are looking at. This is the number of clients that we are looking at. This is the number of months that we are looking at. And so I say, okay, you are full commitment in, and I am full commitment in, and then we are going to drive this forward. So if somebody is sort of going there only half board, it just will not work. So it's a service to them and to me.
Right. And is this how the energetic sales audit came about?
Yes. Yes, because a lot of times, and you would notice that as well, there are lots of people who are following the advice. There's so many experts for everything. Experts for sales, experts on this is how you should do your funnel, and yet the same things, they have worked for people and then they have not worked for people. The reason for that is it's not that the expert is wrong, but it's worked for them. Their energetic alignment is a certain way. The way I see my clients is they all have different patterns. Like, some of my clients really, really good at writing. This is their natural expression. So we will do something which is more around blogs for them. We might do something which is more around the post, because that is something that they feel very comfortable in. And yet, then there are others who are very good at speaking. So we look at what is really aligned to you and work it that way. Also, for example, sometimes clients can be maybe sometimes unsure about the real ideal client because they're wanting to be more needed. There's a safety perception there that, okay, if I have a product which is more needed in the market, then they might not fully be tapped into themselves. So they're not lying, but it's like, okay, maybe, my product will be more mass appealing. Let's say if I just have a bottle and they don't give it a color, they don't really say what the size is going to be, they don't really define the material of it. Like, that water bottle could be used for anything. But maybe if it's a water bottle just for athletes, then you need to have it a certain specific size and so on, right? They haven't defined it that way. So when I work with them, I really help them see exactly that. But once you start seeing that exact ideal client, how your soul really works with it, it's actually a lot easier to just follow those things. And it's not to say that the other things will not follow, the other channels will not follow, but it's just that these are the easiest wins for you. Do that. And usually when I share that, it's also something that will say, yeah, I was already thinking about this, and that flows a lot easier compared to other things.
Amazing. Yeah. So when is this program beginning, or is this a project? What is this about?
So I have the Business Expansion Accelerator that I'm starting in January. So that'll be January 2026. So super excited. But I have been doing this as one-on-one with a lot of my clients, and I have been guiding them. And I think this was just the universe way of saying, because I just got a lot of clients who were like, well, we want to expand our business. And I have so much fun doing it. So now I just bring it all together in the Business Expansion Accelerator. And this is where we all come together. It's very strategic. It's all very energetic at the same time, because people can also have blocks to what they want at the same time. We are funny people. We might want a lot of clients, and at the same time we feel like, gosh, if I have so many clients, I'm going to be so famous, and then my family might not like me, or something else might happen, so we repel as well for the same thing. So it combines those energetic blocks and healing of those energetic blocks, along with very strategic, very practical, tactical guidance around getting your leads. How do you do your calls? It's nothing salesy, but it's just making yourself visible and authentic in a very aligned way so that people hear you and get you.
I get it. It's a nice approach to how you are looking at sales, and it also is a very nice, it's a pretty good bridge that you have created for your methodology of energetic way of teaching, of coaching with your entire thing. So you have actually brought it out pretty well. Your accelerator program, your this energetic sales audit and your methodology. You've done a beautiful job of bringing all the three together.
Thank you.
I hope that it is very, very successful and that you do get a lot of people who will register for it. So in the meantime, let me take your mind back to when you were a child. And what are those qualities in you when you were a child that you have still carried with you now that you are a successful coach, a leader in your name, and the way you have become?
Oh, truth, honesty. So my dad really instilled honesty in me. I don't even remember like what was my first lie I would have said, but I do remember him saying that if you come and tell me the truth, you might be spared. But if I find out that you have lied about something, then it's like there's nobody worse than me. And I think it just instilled that fear in me. But also, as I grew up, I realized that there were kids around me who knew how to lie, and I just did not know how to lie. Like even little white lies, I have a very hard time doing that. As life progressed and as I grew older, I think because I got the comment from some people sometime that, you just never lie. So, for example, one of my friends was asking that, hey, we'll meet sometime. And I could really not figure out because we were in different continents. And I'm like, I'm not sure. And he must have said that again. And then again, I said, well, I'm not really sure about it. Like, I would like to meet, but I'm just not really sure about it. And then he just got upset and he's like, can you just never say this? Like, you could say, maybe we will meet sometime. Like, I was that honest. So, for some time, I sort of started bringing those little lies in, but it never really felt good. And as I was going into this whole journey after my daughter's passing and also wanting to connect more with the consciousness and really wanting to open up my channel more, receive the guidance a lot more clearly, I just got this message that I just have to be even more truthful, even more honest. And so that's been my promise. I'll give you another example here. Like, I remember there was a time when a lady came. So, this was a reading on the phone, and she was asking if she would ever have a baby, if she would be able to hold a baby. That was her question. And I was a student that time. So, I looked at it. The vision that I got was that she was holding a baby it and it was a surrogate baby. Now, her question was that will I hold my baby? And I did not know. And I said, okay, maybe I don't say this to her. And I said, yes, you will hold your baby. But I was still feeling very uncomfortable. And so after a while, as I was still sitting with that question, thinking, no, this is not okay. And I'm like, no, I would have never been shown that vision if she was not ready for the answer. So my job is always to give them the full thing. I don't have to say, hey, oh, come on, it's going to be a surrogate baby. I don't have to say it that way, but I can say, I see you holding a surrogate baby and you are having so much joy and you are really feeling connected to the baby. So this is that value that I carry with me. And I tell my clients all the time that whatever I see for you, you will always get the full information because that is my service and gift to you. Because I don't want to delay them. If something is coming to me, for example, with that lady, and I'm so sorry, I don't know her, I have no way to contact her. But if she had spent time trying to have a baby in another natural way, my honest answer could have saved her time. So that's what I've learned, that I'm not going to do that anymore. And I'm just going to give the full correct answer because that's a gift and that's a blessing to the client.
Yeah, that's very true. So if you have I believe that if you have the gift of, visioning something, especially for another person, not for yourself, then to be able to say it in a manner that it doesn't hurt, and if it is negative, yet give the full picture, I think it's a huge challenge to have. And to, to be able to genuinely give an authentic, truthful answer makes a lot of so I can give you an example of what I had gone through once. I don't do visioning as a practice, as a profession, but sometimes it comes to me. And so I was living in a rented apartment at that time. And you have those real estate agents who come and inspect your home.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this lady who came and inspected the home, and I was at home. So she said, so I said, yeah, so how is it going and things? And she said, I'm not really very happy right now because my I believe her grandmother was going through, but was battling cancer, and
Okay.
she's in a lot of pain, she told me. And I said, oh yeah, yeah, I'm sure she must be in a lot of pain. In the meantime, she completed the inspection and she was leaving. She just turned around and said, would you pray for her? So I looked at her and I got the vision of this lady dying. So I didn't want to tell her that. So I just looked at her and I said, uh, she will find her peace. And and I didn't even think of those words in my head, like I shouldn't be saying this and I should be saying it this way. It just promptly, very spontaneously, this is what came out. And what the other thing that came out was, the Abhay Mudra. This,
Mm-hmm.
so I gave her that. It was like as if it came out all by itself, when something was just saying it. So yeah, I understand the challenge that comes in, and I also know that it's very difficult to be authentic and very genuine yet with being like that. I get the full impact of what you're saying and what you must be doing, because you do it as a profession. So doing it was be really, really challenging for you. What are
Yeah.
the other struggles that you face being a coach?
Yeah. May I just go back?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks so much for sharing your story. And what I try and remember is that it's all coming through me. Like I am, yes, you could say I'm gifted, but no, honestly, I'm just a channel. I'm just clearing my space very clear, and I'm just allowing myself to see all that needs to come forth. And usually, when I have a situation like that, then again, I just remind myself to step back. So, Kanika steps back, and Kanika just asks for guidance that, okay, how do I say this in a way so that my client is able to hear it? And that I think is challenging, and that is also very liberating as well. What I see over and over again, and there are times, when I have to, a lot of times when I have to share things, um, which I know changes the trajectory for someone, but it is still such a gift because then they know the truth, then they know what's really working for them, what's not working for them. It allows them to make that decision. Yeah. Now, in terms of other challenges, when I was setting up my business, you mean?
Yeah, you can start from there.
Okay, and great question. I think a lot of other professionals who are starting their own practice or coaching business, they will relate with this. So I started as Kanika, the project manager. As in, I had a plan. This is what I was supposed to do, and then things were supposed to work out that way. And my projects that I had done previously, they always worked out. Like I never messed with a plan. So this plan was going to work out. It didn't work out. The difference is that that was a corporate environment, a very 3D controlled environment in terms of how things are done, defined, and so on. Whereas this is just such a expansive, heart-led space. It's your space of how are you finding your expression? What is your truest offering? Who are your ideal clients? So for me, the journey was to unlearn that control. And I thought I wasn't as controlling. I used to think I'm generally not controlling in my relationships or with my son. I used to think I was not controlling, but I was controlling my business, that my business had to go a certain way. And here's the truth about a business or any project that is your calling. It is a calling. It already has its own consciousness. You cannot control it. And if you think you can, set up a time and go, okay, this is the time when I'm going to create it. And, it may come in then, it may not come in then. It's just how calling works. Calling has its own rhythm. So you dance with the calling. You can't control the calling. I think that was the biggest challenge, understanding the dance, understanding that I was the co creator in my business. But the minute I could do that shift, then it all changed. So by that shift, I mean, it was understanding, okay, what does my business want out of me? What is the big vision here? And I encourage you here to just think of yourself as the human being. And we have this big idea, and sometimes that big idea seems like such a big vision. When people start with a brand, or for example, even I was listening to the other day the conversation with Jay Shetty, and he was talking about how he started his podcast, and he's talking about how for 7 years for him were like a grind, and then now he has one of the most successful podcasts in the world, with every podcast episode getting about 1 million downloads. And he said that in the beginning it was his calling, this is what he was supposed to do, but he sort of had to step in and let that growth happen. And I'm just saying the same thing, that you just step in, you just trust that, and you just start taking the little steps. And when you do that, then it explodes. Like for me, one of the guidance I got was to do the Magnetic Visibility Summit. And I had no idea. I had no idea how do you organize a summit. Like I'd spoken on big stages, but I had never organized a summit, and I never knew about it. And yet I got the idea, and I'm like, all right, who should be my speakers? Who should I call? And I organized the whole thing, and it became such a big sprouting thing. And it's not in most marketing books, that's not the way you do it. Like that's not talked about as the stuff that takes your business off. But for me, that was the thing. So I always just say lean into your inspiration, because your inspiration knows, your higher part of you knows, and it knows the steps. Lean into that, and then the growth happens.
Okay, so while we are just wrapping up, I have two questions that come to my head, and one of them I just can't stop but ask. I will ask this question, and that is, most people that I see around me have a tendency of wanting to control their destiny, control their environment, least of all, control their family members, their children, their spouse, partner, mate, whatever. And the thing is that they want to control. So when you meet a control person, how do I put it? A control freak. I wouldn't want to use the word freak, but a person who
I have been
is
one in the past, yeah.
a person who is so obsessed with controlling, and they don't make decisions without knowing what the outcome will be. So what is the outcome? If that is the outcome, then this is my action. So that is the kind of person I'm talking about. How do you then change that person to start believing that there is something else up there which is actually creating the path and creating the objective for you, and you're just doing what is coming from inside you, which is more of a calling, more of a passion, more of something that is destiny written, and you're just following it?
That's a good question. And I suppose it's on us whether we want to control or not. I think what I do with these people is I just ask them about the major changes in their life and ask them what happened. How could you control it? And a lot of times they'll either talk about somebody passing away or some tough time that they had. You don't really have a plan for it. And the funny thing is that even when that happened, there's sort of a way in which life looks after you, and you hadn't planned that. So it's worthwhile reflecting of the times when somehow you could not control life, but life looked after you anyway. And the more we lean into it, the more you'll see that it's a little bit like if you go on the road and you go, okay, now I'm going to start seeing yellow cars, and you'll all of a sudden start seeing more yellow cars. It's just that you have to take that step. You have to believe in it. I will give you something scientific though. Our bodies have about 7 octillion electrons in them. That is 7 into 10 to the power of 27. That's roughly about 1,000,000 times more than all the stars that scientists have been able to see in the universe. Like, that's a huge, huge, huge number. All our bodies have that. We carry so many electrons in us, roughly, more or less, depending on the size, kilograms, so on. Now, each of these electrons, they're all orbiting, they're all rotating around. And they are all based on our thoughts. That's how they're shaped. That's how they're moving. Scientists did an experiment called the double slit experiment. I'm not a scientist, so I might not be able to explain it super well. But what they found is that electrons normally travel in a wave pattern. Then you want to observe them, and they behave like a participle. So there's an idea, which is a wave, then you observe or you intend to observe, and then it suddenly becomes a particle, like it becomes a thicker reality, right? We have 7 octillion of them in our bodies. Every single second, they're firing off. Our thoughts create that reality. Because of what we are thinking, that's how things come about. So sometimes I have to pull up some more scientific things for these people. And then you can ask them questions around it. Like the other one that I would ask them is, for example, atoms. The nucleus is in the center, we know that. And then the other electrons, as such, they're orbiting. They're like far, far away. They're kilometers away. It's almost 99.9999% of an atom is actually empty. And yet we think that we are physical bodies, like we touch each other, but it kind of doesn't make sense if all of our atoms are 99.99% empty. Yet with all of that, I would say it still depends on the person. We could look at all of this and they could still sometimes go that they just want to control, because you have to remember it then. And I think it's a journey. They'll get there when they'll get there.
That's lovely. That is amazingly lovely way of, of ending this this session that I have with you, and this is beautiful. With this, the question that I will end with is your legacy. Are you thinking of a legacy? Are you building a legacy? What exactly do you think? What are your thoughts about legacy?
Oh, my name is Kanika. I used to hate my name as I was growing up because it means the smallest part of something big. And I did not like it. Like, who wants to be small, especially when you're growing up? As I have grown up, though, and that's why I love the ripples, and I now understand how much my name is just really meant as that person. So I love creating the ripples. And for me, legacy is, I would love to leave a legacy where there is a system where people can come and they're able to grow their own light so that they're able to spread a lot more light in the world. Like, that is literally what I'm doing with the business when I'm really consciously choosing to work with more coaches and heart-led entrepreneurs. That's the whole passion behind it, because I want you to grow and expand. Because each of us, when you grow out and expand, you have this nucleus and then you're spreading that ripple around as well. So that's my legacy. My legacy for next year, for 2026, the vision that I have is just to have this place where at least if somebody looks, they're going, okay, she's the person. And if we are a coach and we want to have more money, more clients, more authority, more visibility, then she's the person to go to. That's next year, 2026. And 5 years down the line, I probably want to have just more coaches doing that, like have a full on system where when people want to step into their calling, they can. Like there is a system for it, and there is an awareness. And it doesn't always just have to be me, right? It could be so many other collaborators who are doing this, where this is something where, as a human race, we are not scared. We are like, this is how we do it. I want to do this. I want to bring this music into the world. I know I can do this. And this is just where you go, almost very similar to schools and engineering schools and art schools and so on. This should just be just something so common, so easily available to everybody.
Fantastic. Kanika, I was wrapping up, but then another question just popped up, which I think I will sincerely ask because it'll be incomplete if I don't ask this question. And that is, your method of coaching requires a lot of energy from you because you are envisioning something for someone. You're actually putting all your energy into envisioning. So when you're envisioning for somebody else, I think there's a lot of energy required to be able to do that. And then to be able to coach the person through, because coaching itself takes a lot of energy out of the coach. While you're doing all this, how do you remain strong? How do you remain energized? What do you do? What are your practices that you follow?
Oh, I love the question. I love the question. Yes, first of all, we are all energetic containers. That's what I give people the example that, think of a water bottle and the water bottle has a certain size. Maybe that's the amount of energy you have. When you have less energy, then your water bottle is just running low on water, or maybe it's empty. And then when you have more energy, then there is just more water in your water bottle. So, first of all, what I've done is I've increased the size of my water bottle. So, it's got a lot more capacity. That's what I teach my clients as well. It's a co creation process. So, when I hold it for you, I'm literally like a lighthouse where I'm holding that space and I'm showing you what to do so that you are creating your space as well. So, it's not as much as I'm donating my energy, it's more that you are learning to increase the capacity and the water inside your water bottle. Then what I also do is because it is energy and everything in the universe is energy. So we connect with donating energy. So for example, the sun, the earth, there's so many other millions of stars that wanting to help us. But the more you connect with them, the more you're able to actually bring in more energy into your system. So this is why when we say sometimes like, oh, I went out in the sun and I feel so energized. And this is what I teach my clients, ways in which you can just have more energy naturally and you can feel fully tapped in. My whole work is a blend of energy. Like we always do what is easily aligned to your energy and stuff that gives you energy back. So the way I'll work with my clients or with myself is doing stuff that just inspires me. So it brings that overflow energy outside and it also brings that overflow energy back in me to replenish me because that's how I have more in the world.
Fantastic. And with this, we would like to ask, how would you like my audience, my listeners and my viewers to keep in touch with you?
So reach out to me at artoflifecenter.com/sales. And this is where we can do this free energetic sales audit. I can have a look behind the scenes for you. I can tell you what's going on with your own sales journey. We can talk about your messaging blocks or energy blocks around sales and you can get going in your business. And otherwise, if you just wanted to say hi, reach out to me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Kanika Energy Coach. I'd love to hear from you.
Fantastic. I heartfelt and very genuine thank you to you for sharing all your insights and experiences. I'm 100% sure that this will empower my audience and my viewers who are listening to our conversation today. Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Vanya. It was lovely.
Thank you.